Hi, everybody. Hey, Megan. How's everybody doing? Uh, just taking a couple of notes here. A couple of books that I don't have physical Hey, Abby Jean. I don't have physical copies, but I don't want to forget to talk about them, so I want to make sure I had them written down. It is a delightful Sam's Diet Cola, Diet Sam's Cola, Sam's Diet Cola, Sam's Cola, comma Diet. And I'm drinking it straight from the can because I'm feeling classy as can be today. Mm. Tiara check. Megan says, ooh, very nice tiara. Thank you. I think this is the first time you're seeing it. I've used it in a couple of clips that I haven't put on for video I'm still working on. So, okay, we got some comments. Abby Jean says, just finished cooking lemon honey chicken with asparagus and snap peas. That sounds good. We have, because we have our big meal at lunch, we had garden salad and lasagna from Lino's. Lino's used to have terrible pre-prepared lasagna, but they changed hands and now they don't have as much stuff as they used to, but their lasagna has improved. But they no longer offer, they used to have this, like in the fall, they'd have this wild mushroom ravioli that was so good. Made up for the lousy lasagna because we can get lasagna anywhere. This is Central Connecticut. The place is lousy with lasagna. Megan says she's eating some chicken pot pie. Abby Jean says, oh, love that tiara. Thank you. Abby Jean says, yum, Megan. That sounds good, yeah. And Megan says, thanks. Yours sounds good too, Abby Jean. I'm a little warm right now, just because I was kind of rushing around. Yeah, this tiara, like I said, I don't think I've shown it on the channel before. I've filmed a couple of clips with it, but they're for a video I'm still working on. I ordered this for myself because I was ready for a little tiara pick-me-up, and I didn't have a blue tiara. This is, as you can see, pale blue. And I was expecting it one day, and I get a note from my sister. I got a note from my sister the day before saying, you're going to be getting a package in from Amazon tomorrow. And I said, oh, well, I already was, so I wouldn't have missed it. She says, well, I'll let you know when it's out for delivery. So anyway, she also sent me a tiara. And she doesn't have access to my tiara wish list, the wish list I have on Amazon for the Discord where I have like tiaras and stuff. She doesn't have access to that. So she sent me a tiara that she thought I would like, and she was very correct about that. But she will have to get back to me, she says, on whether or not, on what book or book series or video type of thing she might want to assign. Anyway, the tiara she sent me came with a little note that just said, just because. And it is lovely. Megan is saying, I'm interested for today's Rex. I don't know much about paranormal romance or even what counts. Well, nervous little laughter because I'm not sure. I have some stuff I think was good, and so we can talk about that. I think there's a lot of overlap, I would say, with paranormal and uh, what's the other one? Like fantasy, urban fantasy, stuff like that. I think paranormal, we generally talk about that as being like contemporary, set in a location pretty much Earth or very similar to Earth in the current era, and but with a paranormal element to it. I think that's kind of the definition I've been working with. I think also if you have something that's like a the characters are going back and forth between a Fey realm and Earth, like a urban like I said, urban fantasy maybe. I've heard people talking about Twilight as being paranormal. Abby Jean has a definition for us. Okay, English major to the rescue in the form of Abby Jean. Paranormal is vampires, shifters, including werewolves, ghosts, and reapers, as well as witches. I would say maybe also angels and demons, possibly. Because one of the books I was going to talk about was the Fallen series by Lauren Kate, which is angels and stuff. Abby Jean says agreed. And I don't know if she means she agrees with angels and demons or if she agrees with the fact that she is the English major to the rescue, or maybe she agrees with all of it. None of it. I don't know. Hey, gals, says Nicole. Good evening. Good evening. Oh, and that's another one is that I was also going to talk about uh, some stuff that takes place on maybe planets that aren't Earth, but there are paranormal people working on those planets. And Abby Jean says, yes, angels and demons are paranormal. Megan says, okay. Oh, okay. That's what I sort of thought. I don't really gravitate toward that, but I do like witches. So I guess that counts, but only if it's in a contemporary setting. Sure, you bet. Why not? Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, you could, like I said, I think there's overlap, you know. You could have historical paranormal, like the Arcane Society kind of a deal with from Amanda Quick. Actually, I think the Arcane Society, she was writing as Jane Castle, as Jane Ann Krantz. I think she used all three of those pseudonyms for that series. Abby Jean says paranormal is usually in an urban contemporary setting, but it can be historical and you can get urban fantasy, so the setting isn't a hard and fast rule. So there you go. And like I said, I would say maybe some alien settings. I mentioned the historicals, the Arcane Society, which I believe is Victorian England or maybe also Regency England, that Jane Ann Krantz wrote as Jane Castle, Jane Ann Krantz, and Amanda Quick, I think. And also she wrote some, I can't remember the name of the series as a whole, but she wrote, gosh, it's going to bug me now. One of the things I forgot to write down. She wrote under the name Jane Castle, Amaryllis, Zinnia, and Orchid, which took place on another planet, but it was humans that had migrated to this other planet, which had flora and fauna, but it wasn't no sentient life. And there was something about the properties of that planet that kind of gave some humans sort of paranormal abilities. Like Amaryllis was a psychic, that kind of deal. Anna's here. Your notification failed you. Well, you haven't missed, you're only a few minutes late. You haven't missed much. Hey, Nicole and Anna says Abby Jean. And hi, Nicole and Anna. Anna says Megan's Book Nook. I don't know why I'm calling you Megan's Book Nook. Your name, Megan. Also, I saw that supposedly you should have a package according to USPS. Who knows? Anyway, so yeah, so that's what I'm talking about today, and I'm a little out of my depth. I thought I was going to be more out of my depth than I am because I actually realized that I have some nice wrecks, some nice, good, hopefully not too embarrassingly awful wrecks, and I hope people have wrecks for me because I'm kind of getting into it a little bit too. So Nicole says, so here's my question. If I read a book about vampires, is it always paranormal? And Anna says, yes, it is here. I'm glad. It arrived while I was napping, says Anna. I think it arrived while I was napping because I was napping off and on all afternoon because I woke up very early. I woke up at like 4 o'clock, but I went to bed last night at 9, so who knows. Okay, so vampires. Well, I guess so. Yeah, sure, you bet. Why not? I mean, it's paranormal fiction, and then it's paranormal romance if the vampires are falling in love with one another, or with humans, or with other types of paranormal creatures. Abby Jean says, It would, yes, Nicole, regardless of if it's horror, romance, or other. Yeah, like I said, I mean, there's paranormal fiction, and then paranormal romance would be like where there's a romantic situation going on. And like I said, I was looking into it and I saw that Twilight was something that was kind of suggested as kind of like a quintessential paranormal um, romance. And Nicole says, okay, that is starting to make more sense to me now. And then she has a smiley emoticon. Yeah. So I did not read Twilight myself because when Twilight came out, I was kind of feeling like I was a little, I felt like sexy vampires. I was suffering from a bit of market oversaturation on vampires because I just read um, Interview with a Vampire and enjoyed those books. But I also felt that I wasn't really in the mood for vampires at that time. I was really much at that time I was much more interested in zombies. And now they've kind of gotten oversaturated. So yeah. Megan says, I never read Twilight either, Sock. Vampires never really appealed to me. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It really depends on the writer. The other thing is that when Twilight came out, oh, so many comments. I love this. Twilight is an iconic paranormal romance. My mom was a big Twilight fan. Your mom was a Twi mom? Was a big Twilight fan, so I have read them all, but that was more her thing than mine. Then she got into 50 Shades. Oh, and then it was all over. Well, I was gonna say, she's Abby Jean has all of these laugh crying emojis and Megan shares. Because when I would say that when Twilight came out, I don't know, I wasn't really in the mood for vampire. Uh, I see them. I like go to Walmart because my Walmart at that point was open like 24 hours. I go into Walmart at like 3 o'clock in the morning and I'd be looking at the books and I keep seeing these books with these lovely covers, these gorgeous covers that were intriguing. And I keep picking them up. I go, oh yeah, that's the vampire thing. And I don't care because I didn't at the time. Yeah. And also I had such a negative experience with high school that when I read about vampires and they have all of this money and all of this power and stuff, and they choose to use it by eternally going to high school, I'm like, I'm not sure I'm the audience for this. Because at the time I was in my 30s. But of course, Abby Jean's mom was probably in her 30s or older at the time too. So, and I knew other people my age and older who got into it. Uh, Nicole says, I'm in the middle of reading Twilight. I'm on Eclipse. It's like my third reread of this series since college. Okay, well, there you go. Megan says, my sister loved Twilight and it got her into reading more. That's the other thing is that, I never really read Harry Potter either. I tried and I didn't care for it. But this is paying off. All these decades later, it's paying off because, for one thing, Harry Potter got a whole generation of readers and later writers interested in reading. And even people my age or older liked it. I mean, my sister and her wife met through Harry Potter fandom, I think. And well, my sister-in-law is only a few months older than I am, and my sister's a few years older than I am. But now all of these people who grew up reading that stuff are now writers and they're writing stuff that I like. So it paid off in the long term for me. Okay, and Megan says, LOL, I was the Harry Potter fan that thought Twilight was not as cool. And Abby Jean says, yeah, I never understood the whole 150-year-old going back to high school. Thankfully, there's plenty of adult paranormal romance now. Well, sometimes it makes sense. Like one of the books I was going to talk about, the series, The Angels and Demons, Fallen by Lauren Kate. I mean, if you can come up with a good reason for them to be in high school. Whereas from what I gather, Twilight was just he enrolled himself in high school because he enrolled himself in high school. He wasn't like specifically thinking he was going to find, a long lost fellow vampire there or anything. He was just like, I'm bored. I'll go to high school. High school is not the cure for boredom, my friend. It is not. And Abby Jean says, yes, Stock inspiring a generation of writers. Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, I didn't like the stuff originally, but the writers who grew up reading that stuff and writing fan fiction about it, some of them learned how to write from doing fan fiction. I do like what they produce. So even if I didn't like that stuff, I'm still grateful that it existed. Nicole says, I eat up the whole mature wisdom thing in the MMC, so age gaps are a major yes for me too. I love an MMC in control and protective. Can be toxic, but hey, it's fiction. Well, yeah, that's true. It's fiction. Yeah. Okay, Megan says, okay, so what's a good paranormal or vampire story that's not YA? Well, how do you feel about rom coms? And I want to circle back eventually to what Nicole is saying because I read a book today or yesterday actually that would fit that protective age gap kind of a deal quite well. But let's address Megan's question first. Megan says, I like them. Well, My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levine. I read this a while ago and I like it. And I currently have the sequel, My Vampire Plus One, which is about a secondary character from this book. True love is at stake in this charming debut romantic comedy. Cassie Greenberg loves being an artist, but it's a tough way to make a living. On the brink of eviction, she's desperate when she finds a too good to be true apartment in a beautiful Chicago neighborhood. Cassie knows there has to be a catch. Only someone with a secret to hide would rent out a room for that price. Of course, her new roommate, Frederick J. Fitzwilliam, is far from normal. He sleeps all day, is out at night on business, and talks like he walked out of a Regency romance novel. He also leaves Cassie heart-melting notes around the apartment, cares about her art, and asks about her day. And he doesn't look half bad shirtless on the rare occasions when they're both at home and awake. But when Cassie finds bags of blood in the fridge that definitely weren't there earlier, Frederick has to come clean. Cassie's sexy new roommate is a vampire, and he has a proposition for her. I really liked this. It was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to reading this one, which just came out sort of recently. Anyway, oh, let's see. Abby Jean says most of my recs are dark. I like dark too, so bring it, just bring it. And Nicole says everyone really loves the Cressley Cole series, the Immortals After Dark series. Book one is a hunger like no other. I just picked up the Audible. I'm waiting for my next reading slump to get into it. Nicole says, I think it is dark, no clue. Well, I have this book, which I got at one of those library sales. And I got it because I was looking for some winter, like winter holiday, Christmas, New Year's, winter in general. And it is Deep Kiss of Winter is the name of the collection. It's two books, one by Cressley Cole and one by Gina Showalter. And I'm kind of, I think, I don't know about the book by Cressley Cole is untouchable. Untouchable. I don't know if that's Immortals After Dark or what. And then the other one is from Gina Showalter is Tempt Me Eternally, which is like one of those 0.5 or 1.5 or 2.5, one of those like interstitial books that kind of falls in between a couple of books in her main canon. I don't know. It was like 25 cents at a library sale. So I grabbed it. And then I realized that like the first page of Untouchable is like 3 pages of lore and vocabulary. And I don't know about that. Okay, catching up on comments. Megan says, that sounds good, Sock. I like that it's a rom-com. I don't like dark romances, so usually all the vampire ones are dark. Let's see. Abby Jean says, it's old school, Nicole. I gave the prequel, The Warlord Wants Forever, 5 stars, but I DNF to Hunger Like No Other because of consent issues. Yeah, that can be an issue with paranormal because usually there's an unequally yoked kind of thing going on where one of the partners is going to be older, more experienced, or have powers that the other one does not. So that can be a little tricky to navigate. However, you could say that choosing Theo and freeing Luca also have those kinds of power imbalances. So, uh, and Abby Jean continues to say, I haven't continued it because I can't get them for free. Abby Jean adds, but it is certainly well loved. Nicole says, I really want to read the series just to get to Lothair. That's the one I heard is incredible. Okay, so actually, Megan, there have been a fair number of paranormal romantic comedies lately. Um, I have this book. It is a sequel to a book I haven't read, but it is called A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire. And it is the sequel. Well, I mean, it carries on with secondary character, a secondary character or secondary characters from A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. Oh, Abby Jean offers a contrasting opinion. I DNF'd my roommate as a vampire. It actually wasn't bad. I think I just wasn't in the mood. I kept thinking of the hero as Nandor from What We Do in the Shadows comedy. He's a big kind of sweet dummy. Well, what's Frederick from My Roommate is a Vampire? He's not exactly a dummy. He just is like been asleep for 100 years and has no idea how things have changed in the meanwhile. It's a fish out of water. I was very into it, but I can see how, you might not be in the right mood and it wouldn't be as fun. Okay, so anyway, A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire. Abby Jean says, ooh, I love that you grabbed the rom coms. I have so many of these on my list, but I haven't picked them up. Well, yeah, I mean, because I was thinking it's probably a good uh, entry point, because that's what we're talking about, is that it's if you like rom coms, then these might potentially be good entry points. Abby Jean says, I think you would, Megan. Oh, I missed the comment that Megan said, where she said, I went to on Goodreads to add my roommate as a vampire, but Abby, I saw you didn't like it. Did you think I would? Yeah, I missed that lead in. I just saw what Abby Jean said in response, and I thought she was just volunteering her opinion. I didn't realize that there was a prompt there. So, but it's still good. Excellent. And Abby Jean does say that I think you would, Megan. And Megan says, thanks, Abby. Yes, thank you, Abby. It's like I said, it's great to get an opposing viewpoint. Megan says, I think I need a paranormal romance to be funny and not dark. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. And Nicole says, Your Coffin or Mine by Jacqueline Hyde might be another one to check out, Megan. I think it is another rom com vampire text, grumpy sunshine romance. Nice. I have to look into this myself. I'm going to write this stuff down because let's see, Your Coffin or Mine. Very low tech. I think that's my version of very demure, very mindful. It's very low tech, very mindful. Okay, so yeah, A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire. Now, this is instead of having human vampire or human werewolf, we've got werewolf vampire, which is also Bride by Ali Hazelwood, but that's really controversial. I kind of liked it, but it is darker than a lot of her other stuff, and it does get into more like political aspects of how that kind of world would work. So I don't know that I would necessarily recommend it for somebody just getting into paranormal. Nicole says, I have Brides, saving it for October. Nice. Okay, I'm going to read the summary for this. Werewolf Ben Rosewood is happy with his life. 100%. Everything is fine. His business, Ben's Plant Emporium, is thriving. And he's even expanding the shop. His anxiety disorder is, well, it's been better. But that comes with the territory of running a business and having beastly urges every full moon, right? I felt like that, except it wasn't necessarily a full moon. But almost 2 years ago to the day, I had a very special operation, and it's been darn good times ever since. Okay, where was I? As for romance, who has the time? Though his family is desperate to see him settled, Ben is fine approaching 40 as a single werewolf. But after drunkenly bidding on and winning a supposedly possessed crystal on eBay one night, he finds himself face to face with a beautiful yet angry vampire. So anyway, there's more. If you want me to read the whole summary, I can, or not, whatever. Let's see what we have. Abby Jean says, "Ooh, helpful tip. If you go to my Goodreads shelves, I have a vampires, werewolves shelf and a witch's ghost shelf. If you're curious about titles, all genres. Nice." Nicole says, "Ooh, that's great, Abby Jean." Abby Jean says, "I take them off my tags after I read them, so I haven't read those." Megan's book nook says, "Ooh, Abby Jean, that makes my life so much easier. Thanks. Yes, that's great." Abby Jean says, "I want to read Bride, Nicole." Abby Jean says, adds, "Megan, you can kind of tell by the cover what you're going to get." Yeah, I think this cover, they kind of say rom-com to me. This one definitely does. I have another book that I kind of liked, but I don't know if I would necessarily recommend it. It's the start of a series, and it's called Payback's a Witch by Lana Harper. It has small town vibes, and it's about this town that was founded by witches and their stuff. And I don't know that I would necessarily recommend it. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't my favorite thing ever. But it is something that frequently gets mentioned because a lot of people really do love it. And I can see why they do. It just, I don't know, it wasn't hitting right for me for some reason. Maybe kind of like Abby Jean with my roommate as a vampire. Let's see, what do we got? Abby Jean says there's a lot more rom-coms on the witches shelf. It looks like FYI. Okay. Um, the other rom-com is there's another one I was thinking of, and I don't have a copy of it on me. Uh, that was The Fake Mate. That's a shifter romance by Lana Ferguson. And that is a world like ours where there are shifters and they're known to be shifters. And it's one of those deals where these two people have the same workplace. They both work in a hospital, they're both doctors. And there's this thing where the hospital administration says, if you want to get ahead, you should probably be mated. And so they pretend to be mated and then, you know, fake mating. But they're not like completely bestial or feral. I mean, they both work as physicians in a modern technology kind of medical situation. Okay, so those are some rom-coms that I had been thinking of. Does anybody else have some suggestions for Megan? Nicole says, "Hey, Sock, I noticed that choosing Theo is classified as paranormal. Is that because of the aliens? Isn't that more sci-fi? Curious what your thoughts are." I would say it's probably because they do have what we would consider to be paranormal properties to them. Like, particularly when you get into fated mates, that is a lot of paranormal. That's like one of the things about shifters is fated mates and Ice Planet Barbarians. So you do have these paranormal kinds of considerations going on with those characters. So it is science fiction and it is paranormal. It can be both at the same time. And Abby Jean says, "I think Aliens is sci-fi." And Abby Jean says, "That's true, Sock." And Nicole says, "Ah, okay, that makes sense too." Yeah, I mean, I would say that like the Jane Castle. Oh gosh, it's really bothering me. I looked it up earlier and now I can't remember what that series is called. It came out in the late 90s. St. Helens is the name of the series because the planet they end up on is very much like the Pacific Northwest. So they kind of name some of the stuff after features of the Pacific Northwest of the United States. That was okay. The first book came out in 1996, and that is And again, that's that humans have colonized another planet, and there's something about the planet that gives humans what we would consider to be paranormal abilities. Uh, Abby Jean says, I should have prepared for this, lol. I should have prepared for this, lol. I mean, it's my live stream. Mhm. I didn't have the time to read a whole bunch of stuff, but I do have some other things to talk about. So, yeah. Okay. So, do people have other kinds of rom-coms or something on the lighter side they would recommend for Megan or me or anyone? Hmm. Megan has a comment. Well, Abby Jean, you have so many shelves on Goodreads. I really need to start using that function to organize stuff. Well, when I've been doing my Goodreads updates that I've been working on during the midweek motivation, I've added a lot of shelves and I'm probably not done yet. Abby Jean says, one rec, I have Not Another Vampire Story by Cassandra Gannon. It is not a rom-com, but it is satirical. I had a great time with it. It subverts the genre, but it's a vampire romance unto itself. Not Another Vampire Story. Thank you, Abby Jean. Oh, it's actually not another vampire book. Okay, got it. Gannon. Awesome. Thank you. So actually, Abby Jean says, I know. It's a little out of hand, Megan, but I just have so much fun organizing them. Then, if I want to read a particular trope, I just go to my shelves and pick one. Hmm. And Nicole says, Beyond the Highland Mist is one B has recommended. Listopia says it's paranormal. Beyond the Highland Mist. Has anybody read it? Let me take a quick look. Oh, that's Karen Marie Moaning. She writes a lot of paranormal. Oh, okay. That's like time travel and there's a fairy and whatnot. Well, there's time travel assisted by a fairy. Megan says at Abby Jean, love it. It's what I need to do to be able to remember books and make suggestions. Unleash your inner cataloging nerd. Megan says, sigh. It looks like I'll be joining stock on the Goodreads organizing. Join me. Join me. Nicole says, I don't think it would be dark, Megan. Otherwise, P wouldn't have enjoyed it. Megan says to Nicole, that's true. B and I can handle similar stuff. Okay, well, that sounds promising. And Beyond the Highland Mist is the first in the series. Yeah, I saw that. So I say that it's time travel as well because I love time travel. Not gonna lie about that. I think Karen Marie Moaning has written various paranormal and paranormal adjacent type stuff. And Abby Jean, I have read Karen Marie Moaning. I don't think it's dark. Nice. I the other day when I was out at a library sale, I picked up a book by Karen Marie Moning because I'd heard good things about her. And then I got home and realized that it was actually, I think it was when I went to catalog it, that it was like actually the fifth book in a series, which nowhere on the book did it indicate that that was the case. I was like, so I have the first book from that series out, but I haven't read it yet. I think it's going to be part of my dive in or drop out where I look at a series and I read the first book and decide whether or not I'm going to dive into that series or drop out. Like it's not for me. Abby Jean says, I read book three, The Highlander's Touch, gave it 4 stars, but haven't read it anymore. Megan says, B rated at 3 stars in her review. Doesn't sound like I will like it. Well, that's the good thing about Goodreads is that I don't leave reviews personally because I don't know. I think trying to write a review about a book, it just kind of detracts from my overall enjoyment of the reading experience. But those who are into it are, it's very helpful, especially if it's somebody where you know the kinds of things they like and how their tastes mesh with yours. Mm. Nicole says, oh, Megan, The Good Part by Sophie Cousins is a time travel paranormal, 4.2 on Goodreads. The Good Part. I've heard about Sophie Cousins. Uh-huh. I mean, I've heard of her. People seem to like her stuff. Cousins, cousins, cousins. Okay, now getting into the darker stuff, and speaking of the proposed new series for the channel of Dive In or Drop Out, I read the first of many, 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 many Christine Feehan's stories. Oh, and Megan says, thanks, Nicole. Yes, thank you indeed. Anyway, so I read this, like I said, I think on Saturday. Now, this is darker, so probably not for Megan. Actually, I know it's not for Megan, but Dark Prince by Christine Feehan, which is the Dark series, also known as the Carpathian series. And they're not quite vampires. They're kind of not human, not vampire. Hang on a second. Comment. Abby Jean says, for you dark girlies, I recommend Lexi C. Foss's Blood Alliance series, starting with Chastely Bitten, Dark, Sexy, Political. Lexi C. Foss. Thank you. And Nicole Carter says, ooh, I want a Dark Prince. Please. Yes, please. Okay, the Carpathians, they are similar to vampires in that they're very long lived. They drink blood. They can't convert people, or can they? They're going extinct. So it's kind of like choosing Theo and sequels. Uh, they still have souls, however. They draw strength from the earth. They still have souls. Uh, However, if they go dark side and lose their souls, that's when they become vampires. And they're not vampires in this world are not sexy fun. They're just like horrible agents of destruction and chaos, and definitely don't have souls. So this is the first of, I don't even know, because this was first published in 1999, but this is a author's cut special edition from 2011. So when this came out in 2011, she had 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 21 books in the series. And I am guessing that she is probably still going at it, although she's also writing a bunch of other series. Ooh. Hope everybody's okay. Let's see. Megan says, the good part sounds good, but I don't see the paranormal. Is it just because it's time travel? And Nicole says, I have never read a Christine Feehan, and I know she's popular. This is just might be where I dive in. And Nicole says, this is the link I used to find the good part. It classifies it that way on the list. LOL. I don't know. Well, I'm going to spoil my own vlog experiment thing and say that this, for me, was a dive in. I will be pursuing more of this book in my copious reading time that isn't already committed to other books. So, yeah, I liked it. There were some problems with it, but again, it is fiction. But if you want age gap, this is age gap. If you want the protective hero, this is that. Protective to a fault, this is that. So, yeah, Nicole, I think it might be right up your alley. Nicole says, ooh, good. I will give it a go. I don't know, because I read the author's cut special edition. I didn't read the original version from 1999, so I don't know how it compares or anything like that. There were times when I thought it was maybe a little overwritten, and that might be because it's the author's cut. I don't know. So I don't know which to tell you to read. I will say that this, as a hardback with these dimensions of book and this size of font, was 484 pages. So I don't know what the original was. And Nicole says, ooh, right up my lane, Sock. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that. Okay. So anyway, like I said, spoiler for that upcoming vlog, but this was a dive in. I will be pursuing more of this series again when I get a chance. I have some other Christine Feehan series that I'm thinking of getting into. Let's see. I grabbed the wrong Christine Feehan books because I originally found out about her because you can get a lot of her books at library sales for not very much money. And some of those Carpathian stepbacks are pretty whoo-hoo. I mean, this is just dude, wall to wall dude. You just have to imagine yourself being the lady, I guess. But Dangerous Tides by her. If you do like to romanticize the military, you got this dude. And also, I think this guy is probably some sort of former SEAL or something. This is Waterbound. And this is Dangerous Tides. So I thought I just I had a couple of step backs to show off, and I thought I would. But and then I also have Shadow Game. That's the next book by her I'm going to be reading, which is the start of a series, which is about psychic soldiers or something. He looks like a SEAL. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Shadow Game. You know what though? It's the really boring kind of step back. Although, the voice whispered through her. The voice whispered through her body, "Come to me," and she did. So if you're gonna have a quote, that's a pretty good one. That'll draw you in. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He's a SEAL or a retired SEAL or something. This is the SEAL. Oh wow, this dude who looks like a SEAL, he doesn't remember. Lev has no memory of who he is or why he seems to possess the violent instincts of a trained killer. His name is Lev Prokensky. So anyway, but that's in my future. So I think let's see. Oh, the other one I was going to mention, which I do not have on me, is Pen Pal by J.T. Geisinger. I don't really know how to talk about it without spoiling it, but it's really good, but it is on the darker side. So, that's the one I think I talked about it a couple months ago in my those when I did the 2 Christmas book tags at the same time. I think I said that I read it and I enjoyed it, and then I kept thinking about it. Stayed with me since then. So yeah, that's what I've got in the way of paranormal. Okay, Abby Jean says, speaking of Twilight, I am reading Till All the Seas Run Dry about a Selkie and vampire right now, sequel to Soft Flannel Hank about a witch and a human, aka Charlie Swan. Oh, right. I remember you talking about Soft Flannel Hank. Yeah, and then you guys had to explain to me who Charlie Swan was. I think I know my library does not have this. Neither of them, none of them. And it's kind of spendy on even on Kindle, so I'm gonna have to wait for a bit on that. My library will probably eventually acquire them. But yeah, that looks intriguing. And Megan says, this has been helpful. I at least figured out what types of paranormal romances I might like. Yeah, like I said, I think that just going for the rom coms and Payback's a Witch, that might be up your alley. It's got a lot of good banter. Abby Jean's got more for us. I would also recommend The Wicked and the Willing Dark. Actually, I think it's considered romantic horror, sapphic, choose your own ending, love triangle, vampires, 1920s, Singapore. Favorite book of 2024. Okay, so Wicked and the Willing. I don't know. Just another thing to touch bases on. I don't know that The Widow of Rose House would necessarily be considered a paranormal because neither of a paranormal room. I mean, it's got paranormal elements, obviously, but um, I don't know that it can be considered a paranormal romance because the romantic couple themselves. And Abby Jean says, good, Megan. Clearly, I am a fan of paranormal. LOL. And Megan says, that's good, Abby. We need your input. We definitely do. Oh, I am so appreciative that you were able to be here and share, that you are able to be here and share. And Abby Jean says, agreed about the Widow of Rose House sock. Yeah, it's paranormal, but not paranormal romance because there's a paranormal element, spoiler, but it's not involving the two protagonists. That it doesn't involve the romantic couple themselves. Are not paranormal. Spoilers. Uh, and Abby Jean says, thanks, Megan. Yes, thank you, Abby Jean. You have kind of saved my bacon. I mean, I did have some stuff to talk about, but you really, really are enhancing your. Well, everybody is. Nicole and Abby Jean. I really appreciate your having some stuff to talk about. Um, I don't know if anybody has anything else they want to talk about, or should we call it early? Or oh, Abby Jean's got more. I also love YA paranormal, not romance like the Morganville vampires and Vampire Diaries. LOL nostalgia reads. Yeah, YA paranormal. I mean, YA is frequently a good entry point for people. And like I said, I rather enjoyed the Fallen series by Lauren Kate. So that was like an angel type deal, Fallen Angels. So, but that was romance. Mm. spring tree behind me. Oh, by the way, on the spring tree, I did post some pictures in Fun Corner if people are interested. Oh, shit, Abby G's got one more. Awesome. Bring it, bring it, bring it. Nicole Carter says, I'm so happy we chatted purchasing Dark Prince tonight. I hope you like it. Yeah, what you got, Abby Jean? Actually, I should give her a chance to type. I don't know what my deal is. I just was napping all afternoon and I'm still kind of tired. Nicole says, my book buying ban isn't working. Mm. Well, you can always stop buying books tomorrow. I feel like an enabler. Yeah. I mean, I got it from the library, so there is that. Oh, Abby G. The Charlie Davidson series, adult paranormal series, one couple heroine is a Grim Reaper and PI, very sarcastic and funny, got me into reading back in 2019. Nice. Um, so it's like an ongoing PI series. Do you happen to remember who it's by? Let's see. Dorinda Jones, it looks like, is the name of Dorinda Jones. A work friend gave me the first book for A Secret Santa. LOL. Little did they know what they were starting. So, does anybody have any thoughts on what they might want to talk about in 2 weeks' time? What genre is up next, Sock? Megan asks. Well, that's what I'm curious to see if people have anything they really want to dive into, or if I dealer's choice or what. Abby Jean says, yeah, it's a little dated, but that's okay. Yeah, does anybody have any requests? I think paranormal was Abby Jean's idea. Little did she know she would be the one essentially doing all the work. Ugh, got the itchiest nose in the known universe. Abby Jean says, was it my idea? I don't remember. I believe it was. Megan says, Nicole says, she says it to Nicole. LOL, so you buy lots of books at once to stop buying books? I think she said it wasn't working. I blame myself. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, anyway, so does anybody have anything they particularly are interested in getting into or okay, and Megan says, Sock, I know you wanted to talk with me about mystery. Yeah, would you be available for doing that in 2 weeks' time, or do you want to discuss this in a DM or something like that? Nicole says, yes, LOL, I'm insane. I know this. Well, welcome to the asylum. We're the inmates and we run it. Mm. Nicole would love to hear about mysteries. Megan says, yes, I think I can do in 2 weeks' time. Okay, I will get in touch with you and we can set something up. Abby Jean says, yay, that'll be so fun. It will. It really will. Uh, other than that, I hope to see some of you, all of you, none of you. Well, no, I don't want to see none of you. Megan says, "What do people want to know about mysteries? Because I'm still a newbie." Well, I think what we generally have been talking about is like what are good entry points for people who are interested in getting into these genres and subgenres, and also like just what would you recommend overall, and maybe some helpful um, terminology, that kind of thing, like the difference between a thriller and a mystery and a cozy mystery, and so on. Uh, yeah, so for upcoming programming notes, of course, Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Megan says, so much pressure now. Suck. How do you do this? Um, I don't know. How do I do it? Why do I do it? Oh no, you're throwing me into an existential tailspin. I got nothing. Happy Jane says, Megan, it's just us. Don't feel too much pressure. I mean, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. No, I mean, don't feel pressured like that. And Megan's just laughing and crying. Yeah, I mean, if you feel like hesitant or you don't feel like doing it, that's fine too. There's no obligation. Abby G says, make a list of the faves you've read and some tropes, and that should suffice. Yeah, yeah. And Megan says, no, I want to. It'll be fun. Okay, Nicole says, gotta go. Sick kids are calling. Take care, everyone. Bye, Nicole. See you around town. Yeah, so anyway, uh, Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern will be midweek motivation. I think I'm going to sneeze. Nope, not quite there. That's been building all afternoon. Yeah, bye, Nicole, indeed. I hope the kids start to feel better. Just keep throwing soup at them and eventually they'll get better. Um, yeah, so midweek motivation will be on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And I still have a few books to put, well, I have a few books from the Heartfelt Hallway to put into Goodreads. And I also I might get that done and start in on the category romances because that is a project indeed. So thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it as always. And I also appreciate Abby Jean uh, coming in and saving my bacon. Hmm. I think maybe I need some soup. Okay. Anyone want to say anything before I end the stream? Abby Jean says, thanks, Sock. Bye, everyone. Megan says, thanks, Sock. Well, I hope I hope to see some of you on Wednesday. All of you on Wednesday. That would be great. And enjoy the next couple of days between now and then. Bye.